Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Good to see you all once again on the next session of Girl Script Summer of Code. And today we're going to discuss about AI Agents for India track. And we are joined with someone from Smartly team who is going to share how we are going to get through the journey in Girl Script Summer of Code when we talk about the Agents for India track. So, are you all excited? Just comment out red hearts if you're ready for the session. All right. So, I'll hand over the session to Kirti, who is here from Team Smartly, and he would be talking about AI agents and all the things today. So, Kirti, we can begin with the session.
Yeah, Parul, thank you so much. Everyone, welcome to Girl Script Summer of Code AI in Agent Track session. So, hope everyone is doing great tonight. Quick chat check before we start. How many of you here have used GPT before, and how many have actually built something with AI APIs before? Like drop used or built in the live chat, please, so that we could get a fair understanding of the audience. So before that, a quick introduction from my end. I am Kirti Vasan. So I have this experience on Smartly Labs, and Smartly Labs is uh, like a subordinate of Girl Script Summer of Code, and we are building something around AI agents, and you guys will be using our platform for this AI agent track initially. Perfect. I'm seeing a lot of used and some built. That's exactly the mix we expected and we want as well. Today's goal is not to turn everyone into AI enthusiast or researcher. The goal is pretty simple. By the end of this session, you would actually understand what AI is and how LLMs work basically, what AI agents are, why everybody is suddenly talking about MCP, and most importantly, how you can start building in this space immediately. So, without further ado, we can dive into the session. Next slide, please. So, all right, this is how we are structuring the next 1 hour. So, this session is split into 4 acts. Act one will be foundations, and act two will be models. In foundation, we'll basically understand the lore, what A actually is, how we got here, and then in models, what actually powers ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and all these systems will be a quick walkthrough will be shown here. And in agents and tools, this is where things get more crazy and we move from we move from chatbots to autonomous AI agents and systems. And then we act 4 will be reality, which shows the impact, jobs, ethics, and opportunities, and what are your next steps you can from this session. Also, please interrupt through the live chat anytime. This is not a TED talk. If something confuses you, ask immediately. I'll be watching chat throughout, so don't hesitate. Let's start with the most important concepts. So, can you please switch on to next slide? So, yeah, this is one of the most important slide of the entire session. AI is not magic, it's statistics that scale. That's it. So every intelligent system or a thing an LLM does, like coding, writing, summarizing, explaining, and boiling it down to like a 5-year-old kind of thing. Uh, this is all likely to be predicting the next word, that is the next likely word. So basically, super advanced autocomplete in our language. So about your phone keyboard suggestion, like you type I'm going to the dot 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 and then it suggests a store or gym, right? So now scale that trillions of word from internet, insane GPU, and giant neural networks. So that becomes chat GPT. And weirdly, at enough scale, pattern prediction starts looking like intelligence. So this is what uh, we mention as AI is not magic, and it is just statistics that scale. So look at the Drake meme on screen. AI is conscious. It understands me. It has feelings. That is the hype version of what general audience see. And then bottom panel will be its neural network predicting the next word. That is basically the understanding of what AI is doing in the ground. And honestly, the reality is way more interesting. And we'll go through a long session of this entire 1 hour through thick and thin of AI, and how it got uh, to this level. And I'm seeing like a lot of response in the chat as well. So a quick question for the chat: what is the craziest thing you have seen that chat gpt do? And can you drop in the chat real quick? I'm seeing some wild response here. Someone said like it took my job. It's a classic, right? All right, we are moving on to next slide. So all right. So people often mix up AI, ML, deep learning, and LLMs all together into a fuss. So let me simplify it really quick. So AI is the umbrella, and inside AI we have machine learning. Inside machine learning we have deep learning, and inside deep learning we have LLM. Simple. Think of it in this analogy. AI is vehicles, and ML is cars. Deep learning is electric cars, and LLMs are Tesla, the hype model. So one is inside another. The important takeaway here is that LLMs are just one part of AI and not the entire field. When someone says I work in AI, they could be doing computer vision, robotics, recommendation systems, or a complex ERP system, or LLMs. LLMs just happen to be the most visible tip of the iceberg, and now because of ChatGPT. So let's move on. Next slide, please. So we are gonna speed run 7.5 decade of AI history real quick. So in 1950, Alan Turing says, "Can machine think?" And that thought become the term artificial intelligence in 1956, and is officially coined at Dartmouth University. So by 1986, backpropagation becomes mainstream, and this becomes the foundation of the modern deep learning that we all study or research about. In 2012, AlexNet wins ImageNet competition. It's a worldwide competition, and that's a classic. So this is where deep learning truly explodes to next level. And then by 2017, transformer paper drops like a bomb, and then we have this ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, everything. So attention is all we need. Honestly, this paper changed everything in this field. And then in 2022, ChatGPT launches publicly, and AI enters mainstream internet culture. And then we all know what happened. And the fun fact is that most AI hype exists because of the one architecture, that is this background transformers. And that 2017 paper, attention is all we need, is basically the reason we are all here today. Quick poll in the chat: how many of you have heard of AI before ChatGPT launched? Drop yes or no, please. Yeah, CNN is AlexNet, and both are relevant. Yeah, a lot of yes. And all right, ChatGPT made AI mainstream overnight. And all right, next we can move on to next slide. Neural networks are inspired by human brain very loosely. So don't imagine a digital brain. It's mostly just math. Here's how it works. Each neuron takes input, does some calculation, and passes output forward. So that's it. Nothing much. So training means showing millions of examples, making mistakes, adjusting weights, repeating again and again. Think of it like this: training a neural network is like teaching a kid with flashcards. So if they say a wrong answer, we we correct it, like it will be a tiny correction, and if they say a right answer, we reinforce that pattern and we repeat it millions of times again and again. The important thing to remember is that AI does not understand cats, it does not understand your ghibli images, nothing. So it just learns certain pixel patterns, usually means cat. It's pattern matching at scale. So it's not consciousness, not understanding, and just really good pattern recognition. So chat, do you think AI will ever truly understand things like humans do? Just drop your thoughts here, and we can have a quick session and interesting takes here. All right, moving forward. uh, Next slide please. So what is an LLM? An LLM is basically autocomplete that became insane. Three things matters are tokens, parameters, and next token prediction. Let me break that down. Tokens are pieces. For example, unbelievable might be get broken down into unbelievable. So LLMs don't read full words actually. They read this chunk data, and then parameters are basically the model's memory weights. So more parameters is equal to more capacity to store these patterns. GPT-4 has hundreds of billions of parameters, and the only job of the model is to predict what comes next. So that's it. That's why he's the king in the game. So you type the capital of Francis, and then the model predicts Paris, not because it knows geography or geopolitical situation, nothing, because it just saw the pattern millions of times during the training. So remember this one thing, it's very important. So LLMs are prediction machines and not knowledge bases. Okay. So quick question in the chat: why you guys want a separate would you guys love a separate beginner friendly workshop on transformers and how they work deeply? uh, we can have that too, and based on your interest. So drop yes or no. Yeah, definitely Claude is better than GPT because they are focusing only on the one thing, while GPT is thinking all the ways together, like image generation and a lot of stuffs, right? But Claude only focuses on one thing, that is predicting the next word, and that's why it is so good at agentic coding. Yeah, moving to next slide. So this is the architecture that changed AI forever. The key idea is called attention. Attention means every word looks at every other word and actually decide what actually matters. So here's an example. Uh, let's say the trophy doesn't fit in the bag because it was too big. What was too big here is the trophy and not the bag, that we know. But how the transformers only are the architecture which made the systems learn relationships like that. They figure out it refers to trophy and not the bag. And because transformer process words in parallel, they became much faster than the older architecture, which are sequential architectures like LSTM, RNN, recurrent neural networks. So, etc. Yeah. Before transformers, model processed words one by one. Transformers process the entire sentence at once. That's why training became way more efficient. Think of it like old models were reading a book, one word at a time with the magnifying glass. And how the transformers made it different is that it reads the entire page at once and understand the context. That is the power of attention. If you remember one thing from this slide, the key takeaway should be transformer use attention to understand context. And we move on. Next slide please. training versus inference. This is very super important, and training and inference are not the same thing. Training is expensive, take months, thousands of GPU. Yeah, this slide was made by Claude AI, Aditya. So this is super important. The thing I wanted to mention was training is highly expensive, take month, and we need thousands of GPUs, TPUs, and frontier. It is a very high lab problem that exists now, and inference is just a normal AI call. Think of it like training is like studying for years for a doctorate exam or anything. So, and inference is that writing the exam. So, training takes hours and a lot of years of hard work, while inference is just some uh, millisecond like response. When you use GPT, you are doing inference and it's not training. You are using a model that actually already trained. Training GPT-4 probably cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but using it a few cents per API call. That's the difference. So I hope you understood it. And the analogy here is training is like building an entire car factory. Inference is driving the car actually. You don't need to build the factory to drive the car. So chat, have you tried fine tuning a model before? Drop yes or no. Actually, Tanmay, it never answers something new. It just bluffs around it, and it's not an actual answer. So mostly yes, no, and it's a mixture of those, and that's totally fine. Fine tuning is a whole different topic. All right, next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this was one of the biggest AI moments recently. DeepSeek basically showed you don't always need observed amounts of money, and they optimized efficiency because they were from China. And suddenly, the assumption that only giant US companies could dominate AI started getting challenged. So, DeepSeek's approach was smarter architecture, better training technique, and way lower cost, and they released it open source. This caused a major shift in AI landscape because now smaller teams, startups, even students could experiment frontier level models. And uh, i- imagine this analogy. Imagine if Tesla was the only company making electric cars, then suddenly a Chinese competitor makes an car that's 80% as good but cost 20% of the price. That's basically what DeepSeek did to AI. The important takeaway is that architecture and efficiency matter, not just brute force scaling. You don't always need billions of dollars to compete. Do you think open source AI will eventually beat closed models like a GPT? Drop your take, guys. So actually, like we have this workshop session till June 2nd, Svetang, and we'll slowly move into deep of agentic AI, and we'll have more sessions coming up throughout this week. Yeah, like in a like very progressive and in a lens, if we see, it's mostly no, and as this huge giants are already in the top of the A race. So, and then we can move on to next slide, please. So these are some frontier models as of May 2026. You don't need to memorize specs and all. Instead, remember different models are optimized for different things. A Claude excellent for coding and long context, like this PPT slide was given lot of context, and Claude generated this not in a single prompt anyways. So, and then GPT, we have great reasoning, human understanding, and tool use capabilities in GPT. And Gemini, we have strong multimodal capabilities like image generation, video generation, VO, Nano Banana, etc. And DeepSeek, we have a cost-effective and open option. Each model has its own strength and weaknesses, and there is no best model. Only the best model for your use case is there. If you are building a coding assistant, then use Claude. If you need image understanding, we use Gemini. And if you are on budget, then we use DeepSeek. Think of it like choosing a phone like iPhone, Samsung, Pixel, all are great, just different strengths. Same with AI models. So, like chat, like which AI model do you personally use the most? Spam it down in the chat. Svetank, like all the repos are already listed and it will be available in the GSOC website. Okay, we have very like unique set of audiences using very many different stuffs. All right, next we can move on to next slide. So now we compare the models. Here's the quick comparison of major two models. Just understand each model has different trade-offs: speed versus accuracy, cost versus performance, open versus closed. The important thing as a builder you should experiment with is use multiple models. Don't just stick with one and experiment with it, because different tasks need different models. We use Claude for coding, GPT for reasoning, Gemini for multimodal, and like as we see recently, like for student account in GitHub Copilot, they have removed access to Claude Opus and Sonnet, and we are moved to uh, GPT, and then they even reduce the codex capabilities to 5.2. Things happen, so we can move to the next slide. So hallucinations, LLMs hallucinate a lot, meaning they confidently generate uh, false information, and the dangerous part is that they sound very believable, especially in terms of medical and related stuffs. That's why building blindly trusting AI is very risky. So here's the thing: LLMs are trained to predict the next word, not to tell the truth. So if the most likely next word is wrong, the model will still say it confidently. AI is basically a very smart student who is very good at bluffing. They will give you an answer even if they don't know, and they will sound confident doing it. This is why you should always verify AI outputs, and especially for medical advice, legal information, financial decision, factual claims. So chat has ChatGPT ever confidently given you a very completely wrong information? Drop yes or no. Yeah, seeing a lot of yes, exactly. That's hallucination in action. All right, let's move on to next. Next slide, please. Yeah, fixing hallucinations. So, how do companies solve hallucination? Is that they won't make the AI smarter. Instead, they engineer systems around it, like RAG, RAG. If you could know, like, and retrieval augmented generation, tool calling, verification, human review, all all of this engineering happened around this hallucination. And AI products today are not just models, they are end-to-end systems. Like if you use a codex to push some commits to GitHub, it has a git kraken MCP uh, optimized into it, so that it automatically uses it and creates a very good commit message and pushes all the commits all together in a single. uh, so let me explain more in detail. RAG means giving the AI access to real documents before answering. So, and then a tool calling means let the AI use other stuff from other providers. Like if you want uh, to get some designs from Figma. There is Figma MCP layer you can just use so that the AI can directly download images and designs from there. AI can call APIs, databases, calculators, and they can even search the web. So verification means cross-check outputs against known facts. So that is basically verification. And human review means there will be a human in loop for critical decision. Think of it like this: a student taking an exam uh, versus a student taking an open book exam with a calculator and a fact checker. So that a student taking an exam is hallucination prone mostly, versus a student taking an open book exam with some tools enabled is more reliable. That's what we are trying to say. If you remember one thing, AI systems are more reliable than raw AI models. Moving on to next slide please. So prompting is a communication design that humans and humans and LLMs used to converse. So like the slides are already shared. Like if you see the pinned comment or pinned chat, you could see the URL of the slides. Is it there? Bad prompts create bad outputs. Basically, the better your instruction, the better the result. A good prompt usually includes a role like you are an expert TypeScript developer, and then a context, I'm building a web scraper, and then task like write a function to scrape prices of products from Amazon, Flipkart, etc. And then constraints will be there. Use beautiful soups, handle error gracefully, like what modules to use from TypeScript we are mentioning it. So and then there will be output format mentioned, like return the result as a JSON array. Examples are, think of prompting like giving instruction to an intern. Like a vague instruction will be is that make a landing page for our website. So the clear instruction will be build a landing page with the hero section, three feature cards, contact form, use Tailwind CSS, make it mobile responsive, and use Next.js. This is a very detailed prompt. So second one gets better result. Absolutely, prompting is a skill. The more you practice, the better you get in it. And uh, chat, have you ever had a experience where LLM completely misunderstood your prompt? Drop yes or no in the chat, please. Once this session ends, I will push a update and you can download the PDF from there. Right now, you can't download it. I'll update it once the session ends. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yes, that's normal. Prompting takes practice. All right, next slide, please. Now we come to agents. uh, this is where things get crazy. So an AI agent can read files, use tools, run code, plan tasks, retry after failure, and continue working autonomously without a human intervention. So this is where AI stops being just a chatbot and becomes an autonomous system end to end. So uh, think of it like ChatGPT will be intern answering questions, and agent is actually an intern who is doing all the tasks by himself. So there are big differences. Agents can now book flights, analyze data, write reports, debug codes, push updates to code, send emails, manage workflows. This all will be happening autonomously. So would you trust an AI agent to book a flight for you guys? What do you think? Full form of LLM is large language model. Yeah, you will get this lecture recorded in YouTube. You can, as of now, live is happening. Once the live ends, it will be available. Mixed responses make sense. Trust takes time. Moving on, we can move on to next slide, please. So agent loop. Here's how an agent actually works. So it's a loop. Observe, we read the current state and then think, decide what to do next, and then we act, use a tool or take action, and then repeat. We do it until the task is done. This is actually a agent loop. So it is how autonomous system works. So think of it like a chef cooking. Observe, they check for ingredients, and then they think, decide what to cook, and then they act on it. Like they start cooking and then repeat. They taste it, check for salt, and adjust the salt, correct it, and continue. This is the same logic as in that. So the key difference is that agent can plan and retry. Chatbot just respond once. Agents keep working until the task is done. Moving on to the next slide. Tool use. Tool calling is basically giving AI superpowers. Without tools, the model only knows text. With tools, it can search the web, query databases, send emails, call APIs, execute workflows, etc. So this is huge, right? So because AI isn't limited to what it was trained on, it can access real-time information. This is, think of it like AI without tools is a student with only their memory, and AI with tool is that a student with Google and a library, way more powerful than student with just memory. Tool use is what makes agents actually useful. Moving on to next slide. RAG. RAG means retrieval augmented generation. Simple explanation is that open book exam. Instead of relying only on memory, the AI first retrieves relevant documents, and then user ask a question, system searches a knowledge base, retrieve relevant documents, and then feed them to the AI. AI generates an answer based on those documents. This is the analogy of how RAG works. Think of it like, in a closed book exam, AI relies on a training data, often outdated or wrong, and open book exam is where AI retrieves current documents and answers based on them. It is way more accurate. And this is how companies connect AI to PDF, code bases, internal documents, medical records, and knowledge bases. The very big uh, involvement of prompt engineering is in racks, where we give a set of constraints in the prompt and set of roles to the uh, LLM, so that it works under constraints and it has specific use cases. So, have you ever used tools like Chat PDF for any question and answering tools, guys? Drop yes or no. And anyone has ever built a drag before? Yeah, lot of people are familiar with it already. So let's move on to next slide. So now the MCP, you guys have been asking for. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. The easiest explanation is that USB-C for AI. So before MCP, every AI app needs separate integration with tools like Tavily, browser use, anything whatsoever. So you want to connect to Slack, there should be a custom integration layer that you have to write. And if you want to connect to GitHub, you need to write another integration layer for every AI tool that we are using. So it was all a mess, right? So we have a lot of manpower required in it. So MCP solved this end to end. It is like a one protocol, one standard. Any AI model can connect to any tool that support MCP. Think of it like before USB-C, every device had a different charger, right? We all before Gen Zs would have went through the hell of different using different types of cables. So after USB-C, one cable for everything. We can charge our MacBook and even our phone with the same cable. MCP is the same idea for the AI tools. This was huge for developers because now you build a tool once and it works with Claude, GPT, Gemini, and everything. And if you remember one thing from this slide, it will be MCP is basically USB-C for AI tools. uh, as far as the session has been chat, does everything make sense? Like, is everything okay? Should I improve the speed or make it lesser? Anything? Some feedbacks? So API, difference between API and MCP, someone asked, I guess, in the chat. API is application programming interface, and it is a set of rules for software to software communication. MCP is one standard. It is for AI to software communication or AI to tools communication. That's it. Yeah. So now we are going to next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. This is where software engineering is changing rapidly. Cloud code. So this presentation was made with Cloud code. Cloud code can read repos, edit files, run test, fix errors, open pull requests automatically. We are moving from like AI assistants to AI co-workers. Think of it like AI suggests code while you type. It's Copilot, right? So Cloud Code AI writes the entire feature while you only review. It's a big difference from what we had before and now. This doesn't mean developers are getting replaced. It means developers are becoming more and more productive, and like this is the era where even non-technical founders can build MVPs and minimum usable products very easily. So how many of you have used Copilot or Cursor before? Drop yes or no. Devang, there is a repo named Caveman. If you could go through it, you can understand more context about this token consumption reduction. It's Caveman, caveman.sh, I guess so. I'm not sure. Next slide, please. OpenAI's operator is also similar. It's an agent that can browse the web, fill forms, click buttons, and complete tasks. So an AI agent that can use websites like a human does. So this is future of automation. It's like Comet, like, right? Instead of building APIs for everything, agent just use the UI. So traditional automation was like built around a custom script for every website. Operator is a one agent that can use any website, way more flexible. So that's it. And moving on to next slide, please. So AI is already impacting a lot of domains like healthcare, finance, education, management, science, software engineering, and creative industries like writing and filmmaking as well. This is not future of tech anymore. It's already deployed and it's the present. Examples is that AI is now diagnosing better than medical professionals, and what takes medical professionals to get a conclusion after days and months is now taking minutes and seconds. Then AI is detecting fraud in financial transactions. Like now Paytm has and PhonePe has deployed their local LLM in your phones as well to detect these financial products. And there are AI tutoring for students, AI discovering new drugs, and AI writing code. So the question is not will AI change things. The question is how fast will it change things. So as we are already in era of AI. So moving on to next slide. Next slide, please. So the labor market, this is the very uncomfortable part, that is that AI will automate certain tasks, but historically technology removes some jobs and create entirely new category of jobs. Like we have now white collar interns in a lot of companies, right? Think about it, like ATMs didn't eliminate bank tellers, or bank just open more branches. Spreadsheet didn't eliminate accountants. They become just more productive with these tools like Power BI. So search engine didn't eliminate librarians, and AI didn't eliminate search engines as well. We still use to Google for a lot of stuff still. And librarians become information specialist after search engine. Think of it like uh, tractors replaced manual farm labor, but they also created uh, jobs like tractor mechanics, uh, engineers, supply chain managers, etc. So your advantage that as we are living in this era, you becoming someone who builds with AI instead of someone ignoring it will make you have a higher edge in this. So if you learn to use AI as a tool, you become 10x more valuable, and if you ignore AI, you become replaceable. And right now, with agentic era of coding, you could build almost anything and everything with what's available with limited knowledge. Only you need to think of this idea, and then let the idea sit with you, think of more use cases, all the edge cases, and then move on to implementation. And only issue we are having now is the distribution of the product. So building around this area will make you 100x more better and irreplaceable in the age of AI. So how many of you all are worried about AI taking jobs, or uh, are you excited that new opportunities are coming? Like drop worried or excited in the chat. We can have a, yeah, interesting mix of response, and both feelings are equally valid. And the key is to we have to adapt and build with AI. And moving on to next slide. So now comes powerful technology also creates risk, right? So as of now, the major risks are, next slide, please. Yeah. So deep fakes are there, misinformation, biases, privacy issues, and cyber misuse are there. So AI literacy matters, and responsive building matters. As builders, we have a responsibility to understand the risk, build with safety in mind, and think about consequences and prioritize ethics. So think of it like nuclear energy, incredibly powerful, right? So also incredibly dangerous if we misused it. So AI is also something similar. AI has some crazy use cases, but uh, it is scary too. So the goal is to not stop building, but to very ship sooner, and goal is to build responsibly. Moving on, next slide. Next slide. So Smartly Labs. So Smartly Labs is basically focused on proof of works, and not just resume, not just certificate. And we are actually shipping things. The philosophy is building public, ship real projects, get real feedback, iterate and improve. So our platform is agents.smartly.ventures, which will be dropping in sooner. So you guys can build AI agents with it without prior experience, but what matters is the idea should be very good. And uh, we can you can check out Smartly Labs in that link above, like labs.smartly.ventures, and link in. And moving on to final slides. Yeah, next slide. No, Abhiraja Agarwal, I didn't manually hot code my portfolio. So the key takeaway from this session should be is to build something, and even something very tiny, because building teaches faster than watching. So start with simple chatbot, a RAG system for your notes, or a tool that automates something you do manually, or AI powered side project, anything. Just start building. If you want some ideas or anything, like you can drop me a DM in any of my handles you could get from my portfolio, and we can have a conversation. And the most important tip I'd give you is that go through lot of uh, papers, and literature is what making the first thing where the innovation comes is through literature, and then literature transcends to a product. So like I said in attention is all you need paper, right? So first came was the concept through attention is all you need, and then that transcended into chat gpt, and it reached us the public, and it made us very like using ai, and uh, you get what I mean. So I would highly suggest you to go through these resources like Andrej Karpathy's Nano GPT and Intro to LLMs, and then it is like clearest LLM explainer on the planet. So and then Anthropic Prompt Engineering Guide plus MCP docs. So to get more hands-on with MCP, I'd suggest reading this and getting to know it better, and do some projects in real-time MCPs, and you can compare hundreds of models on speed, latency, cost, and which is updated daily on artificial analysis.ai. And then React paper is a state of what, and chain of thought, a DeepSeek V4, which uses mixture of experts. So you can go through all of this, and you have everything now to start and ship soon. And we'll be launching our uh, agents website of Smartly Infra very soon, and we'll be very happy to have you on board in that as well. So build in public. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours now. You can. Yeah, Kushi, it's just like a showcase of your works. If it is made with AI or anything, it's just fine. But have a unique taste and showcase something which each and everything that you have built in a very impact oriented format. Like I have optimized the latency to this percentage, or P95 latency was reduced by 200 milliseconds or something. Anything can be like, if it is more impactful, it is better. uh, Abhiraja Agarwal, you can use this design skills from any of the providers or GitHub repositories, and just find your unique taste and iterate through it, and sit with all your projects and JSONify them, and then make the best outcome from it. Svetang Chandra, I am jobless as well, so I can't answer that Gen AI job question. Mini Pekka, you can build some great projects and showcase it, and you can also explore open source cohorts around, like PLDG is there, and GSOC is there. Bitcoin is also have an open source program. You can apply to all of them, and those only look for proof of works and nothing else. You can have some experience in open source first through Girl Script Summer of Code, and you can apply to any of them. Yeah, Vikram, you can DM me in Discord. Nidhi Devgan, you can contribute to as much projects as you could, but I think some of the projects will be already taken, and finding an unassigned project will be a hard thing by now. So please keep iterating and commenting on lot of open issues. You will eventually get a. So guys, we have this 7 minutes, and you can drop any questions and I'll be answering those. So Tanmay, as long as like you are solving a real problem and it's not a big issue to use AI, you can use AI and do a fix in open source, but don't spam much. So, Svetang Chandra, GSOC is like a launchpad actually. Most people confuse Girl Script Summer of Code with Google Summer of Code. But if you are a career starter and you are from first year or second year of university, you can contribute to GSOC and get a real experience of what open source contributing feels like and how it is. So the next step will be is to go through some cohorts or open source cohort where you'll be paid huge lot of money for even a single contribution. That's how you should use this platform, Girl Script Summer of Code. And you can also get some resume projects from this platform. I think Xiaomi, this open source period runs of other company question, right? I'm not sure about it as I am from Smartly and not from Girl Script. Tomorrow you'll be having a Girl Script session. You can ask them. So roadmap for learning AI is that start from basic and get very strong in basics like transformers, how tiny neural networks works, and how CNN works, RNN works, how each of this trade-off of each got better around the time, and the whole roadmap of it, and read everything around it and build some cool stuff and code neural networks by hand. It will actually help you land jobs. GSOC is a open source contributing platform where there will be lot of projects from different types of people, and if something they will list their issues, and wherever they need contribution will be listed in the issue section, and you can take up issues like if you are interested in clearing out or finishing it up. Like other than open source is that having some hackathon wins and working on more personal projects, and you if you do it consistently, and networking is a very important thing, and once you get some experience and exposure through these competitions and stuff, you'll definitely get an internship through any of this. So I already answered this GSOC roadmap question. So there is a GSOC launchpad session happened yesterday, I guess. Please watch that session to get more clarity on how to get started with open source in GSOC. Yes, Vikram, you can, and you might get a job by doing GSOC if the maintainers really love your contribution, they can onboard you in. There is a website called roadmap.sh. You can go to it and you can get roadmap for whatever role you aspire to be in and whatever stuff. So it's very useful. Thanks, Shreyas. How can I improve my prompting skills? Just have a conversation with the LLM about it. Like from our conversation history, just tell me how to improve my prompting skills. It will mention all the red flags and green flags that you have, and you can proceed further. Smartly Labs is not open to contribution yet, Xiaomi. But in future, we might open a contribution track. So keep watching the website and all the updates of Smartly Labs. And we have a organization in GitHub. Please do follow Smartly Labs in that. GSOCs help in getting onboarded with open source contribution, and it can be helpful in getting some resume ready projects. Yeah, you can add, but I don't think it would be much useful. Rather, you can add it like the company name and then mention like GSOC contribution if it is some of like a very good issue that you have came to tackle. The like this session, I have just gave you introduction of AI and LLMs, and it's very basic, right? In the oncoming sessions, we'll move deeper into how agents work and agents architecture and etc. That's how we have planned as of now. I'm not sure about that shares whether DSA is part of GSOC. Like you will get initial experience to participate in Google Summer of Code, and you could get some good exposure to Git commands and everything. Okay, guys, we are the times are up. If you have any more queries, please go to my portfolio and use my any of my handles or my mail ID or Discord, anything whatever works for you. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.